Hey, this is Todd Lohenry, and it seems like I have been waiting absolutely forever to be able to do a screencast like this. And the reason why is that I have been looking for a set of tools that allows me to record what's happening on my mobile device without having to root or hack or whatever the operating system on either the iPad or Android. And as it turns out, I found a solution for Android first. However, that doesn't mean that the solutions that I'm going to show you exclude, matter of fact, remember that one of the, exclude Apple, sorry. Remember that one of the key criteria, one of the reasons why I pick the tools that I do is that they're completely cross-platform down to the smartphone iOS or OS level, excuse me, which means that the applications that I'm going to show you in this kind of format operate almost exactly the same on both platforms. So while I know it's very offensive for iOS users to watch an Android video and vice versa, the focus here is on the application, which is a feed reader called Feedly. And what Feedly allows me to do, talking about some of the other criteria for a moment, remember that one of the criteria is, as I just said, it has to be completely cross-platform down to the smartphone level. Second criteria, it has to be in the cloud. Okay, and the reason why, and I'm going to show you this, is that no matter what it is that I'm doing, I want the data to be in the cloud so that I can access it from a mobile device or from a desktop, and it's going to work exactly the same way. This is the primary reason why I do not use Flipboard as my information management tool. Very sexy, but no desktop version. So frequently when I run my filters of what tool it is that you're supposed to use, I come up with only one that meets all of my criteria. And in this particular case, the critical application for thought leadership and taking some stress off of your inbox by getting information into a just-in-case place so that I can check when it is that I'm going to look at news, that application is Feedly. Now, I want to show you how I set up Feedly, because in order to get it to act correctly from my perspective, there is a default, there is a setting that is a default that is not turned on by a key feature that's not turned on by default, and that one is auto mark as read. Okay, and what I need to do is I need to select that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I want to go in here and I want to select my home page as the default start page. I have the option of using 5 different tools as the favorite saving tool. And I'm going to recommend that you use, let's just check and make sure that I did that correctly, that you use Feedly, and I'll show you why later. The next is, what is your favorite sharing tool? Twitter, Facebook, Google+, email, or browser? Here I prefer to use Google+, and again, I'll show you why later. One of the only things, key differences here between iOS and Android is that iOS allows an additional saving feature, which is to save to buffer. Now, I can get around that in Android because I have more sharing options, but I look forward to the day when that feature is, or that tool is also offered as a favorite sharing tool. Next is volume up or down navigation. I prefer not to have that set. And then the next couple of options, pull to close, long press to save, double tap to close, edge to next or previous, and article to article swipe. Those are turned on. As far as I know, I've never changed the default transition since I started using this as a mobile app when it first became available. So I use the stack transition. As far as the theme is concerned, you can pick day or night. Moving on, you can adjust the article font size and the default view. They have title only, list, magazine, or cards. And I leave it on detect. I like to be able to see some of the pictures, and it also spaces out the information a little bit, and you'll see how I use that later on. Next is you have the option of sharing to different tools. For example, if you're a Pocket user. Oh, wait a minute. First, sharing. Okay. So the first thing is that I have an opportunity to insert what's called a tagline. And I can go in here and I can change my tagline to bright, shiny objects. And that is a key indicator for me that this is something that I have shared from my tablet. The next is a template for sharing. And it allows me to pick between 3 different templates. Unfortunately, I can't really customize this that I'm aware of. So I can pick title in quotes, URL, and what they call the quip. Why they don't call it the quip when you're editing the tagline or tagline here, I don't know, but the quip is the tagline. So the option that I choose here is I choose to put the quip followed by and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the second one. Title, URL, title, URL, and quip. Okay? And then lastly, if I use Instapaper, Bitly, or if I want to send these to email when I share them, certainly could do that. So one of the things that I could do, like let's say, for example, I wanted to automatically send something that I shared to Evernote, I could do that as well by using my secret Evernote email address. Now that I've done this, I go to the home, which is where I would normally, start up. And then this is the way that I read my news, simply by swiping up. Okay, now notice, because of the selection that I made in the preferences, when I scroll down, all of these articles are marked as red. The reason I know that is that the titles are no longer in bold black, they are in gray. So all of those have been marked as red. And more importantly, not only have they been marked as red here, but they have also been marked as red in the cloud. Okay? And the advantage to that is that when I go back later and I want to process some of this content and include it in either in my blog or in social media, I can do that. So what this allows me to do is to go through and remember one of the options that I had was a long press equals a save. Well, here, if I press down on this article, the second article, you can't see that I'm doing the press, but 11 things about email that you might know. Okay. If I press down on that for 1 second, we see a box pop up that says saved. Okay. Now it's unsaved. Now it's saved again. There we go. Okay. And this will be important later on because where these go, there is a special section that shows up both on the tablet and on the desktop version, which are all the things that I have saved to process later. Okay? So, again, I'm just flipping through articles, looking for things that I think might be interesting. Okay? And I can also bookmark it here and continue to go on. I'm going to save this one. This one, I could go in and read the article right now if I wanted to, but I can also go back and look at it on my desktop later on, and you'll see how I do that later on in this screencast. Okay, so this is the way that I go through my news most of the time. Okay, and then if I see something that's interesting, okay, I can also, if I would like, I could share this. Remember I said my favorite sharing tool was Google Plus, and here's the Google Plus icon right here. What Google Plus does is grabs the quip. Okay, there's the title, there's the URL, and there's the tagline. And I could share this directly to Google Plus, although that's a pretty lame share for the Google Plus community where they expect a little bit more than just a title and a quote and etc. But here's a place where the Android version is actually a little bit more robust than the iOS version because I have additional sharing options that are not available in iOS. And I can share out to any of these different tools from this article. So if I have interesting visual content, I could add it as a pin. I could send it to Evernote. I could add it to Buffer. I could add it to Pocket. I could do all kinds of different things. Okay, so this is a very robust tool, not only for consuming information, but also for publishing or processing later. So this is one of the most important reasons why I use Feedly. The desktop application is great, but it works really, really well in conjunction with the mobile version. And the mobile version is available for both iOS and Android at no additional cost. Questions, feedback, let me know. How do you like this format? I'm so thrilled that I can show people what's happening at the mobile level now.